Hello.
Hello, how we doing?
So super good. How are you?
Super duper good. Pretty flowers.
Yes.
They look
Thank
real
you.
today.
They are real today. They were from my tree outside.
Nice. That's awesome.
Right. And it smells really good in
Beautiful.
here.
Yeah, very nice.
Let me straighten this real fast. There we go. Anywho, did you have a good
Anyhow,
week?
I did. Been
That
very,
is good.
it's like last week of school. Lots of
hmm
things going on for that.
Today's
How
actually
my,
the last day of school for my kids, period.
yeah.
So I
Did
give
you
that.
see the video of Elena at her preschool graduation?
Yes.
My name is Johnny. I'm 5 years old. I go want to be a mom also.
Pay attention, Elena.
My name is Elena. I'm 4 years old. When I grow up, I want to be an artist. My name is Casey.
And she wants to be an artist.
Yeah, I'll send it to you,
So
Jesse.
much confidence.
I know. She's just She's so funny. She's cracking me up all the time.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
It'll be really cool to see what she does become,
I know.
see where
I
she goes and
know.
what she does, because that's a lot of personality packed into
I know. And
tiny little
she's like constantly demanding. Like she's what you would consider a show off. She's just constantly kind of like commanding attention and like trying but she like wants to be up on the stage doing it. Like if we're somewhere when people are performing on stage, she's like, "When's it my turn?" I'm like, "That's not how this works, baby." Unfortunately, you don't
but
just
I could do it. Yeah.
yeah. But she's
She,
like, "Okay, I'm gonna go do that." But
hmm
not one thing in particular. She's confident about literally everything.
hmm
So
Yeah.
we'll see what she actually has like an affinity for.
She'll probably have an affinity for a lot of things.
Yeah, true. I'm kind of that way. That's the
Yeah, the thought of
ADHD in
trying to
us.
yeah, the thought of trying to like narrow her down to one thing. It's like,
No.
I don't know about that. She's
Mm.
definitely fun to watch.
Oh yeah. She's like my favorite entertainment right now. All my girls kind of are. Like I do. I'm like I have so much fun being a mom just because I think I have like the most amazing kids and I hope all moms feel that way.
Right? And
But
they're so
mine are
fun to
just
watch grow and
somehow
learn
the
things and
best,
like,
you know?
uh-huh. I mean, besides mine, maybe. No. No, it is good to like feel that way about your kids and just be excited for them. They're
Yes, they're freaking
they're just
awesome.
starting out on this whole journey.
Yeah. Bella did two language courses this year.
Which
Like
ones?
um ASL 1 and 2.
Oh,
Just because
fun.
but it wasn't like the plan. It's just she moved through the first course so fast that she ended up just
Might as
signing
well
up
keep
for the
going.
second one. Yeah, I was like, and she already did like the testing to do the dual enrollment and got accepted to college. I'm like, you're in ninth grade, kid.
That's so
Like,
cool.
it is. And
Not a
I'm like, you
girl.
are so much cooler than me, man. But also like,
Right?
my God. I think that
I
thankfully
think
a
she takes
lot of
after
that's
you.
yeah, but I think that that stuff was starting to become something that we could have done maybe just as we were graduating high school because my one
Yeah.
of my younger sisters did it a little bit where you
I
can
did
get like your
some.
associate's degree. I did literally none. I had no desire.
Yeah.
School was so easy for me. Why would I make it hard? Like I was just so ready to be out of there because I wanted to be working and I always had a job
Yeah.
anyway, so it was like school was just this thing in the way that I had to get out of the way. Like,
Well,
but I did not. I almost wish I had put some effort in. Yeah.
I don't know. I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I was in high school. Like, okay, I have this all planned out. And then I got there and I was like, just kidding. Uh,
What did you want to do?
I wanted to be an athletic trainer.
Not a wife and a mother?
Well, no, that was also already
No,
on the list
I'm just
always.
kidding because what we're talking about today.
Yep, that was a good
But you
segue,
did
by the
have
way.
a career aspiration
I
first. You
did. I
wanted to
wanted to
be
be an
something.
athletic trainer. And actually, one of the reasons I was not was because I was like, the hours for this would not be conducive to being a good wife and mother, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
that's
I
why.
remember I tried it with you a little bit too, and really it was the cadavers for me when I was like. Nah.
I love that
Uh,
stuff.
I I don't know. I think I would be fine with it now, but I was
Mhm.
too afraid of and focused on death at the time
Yeah,
to be around that.
that's
Like now I can handle it better.
yeah,
but, but I was like, not for me,
a
thanks.
little freaky.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it
But
was
then
the people that worked with them for me because they were all a little off, and I was like, uh. That wasn't like a deciding factor, but it was definitely weird when they're telling us about these cadavers and they're rubbing their hands and like playing with their fingernails, and I'm like, stop it, stop it,
stop.
no,
Stop. Stop.
stop what you're doing.
It's funny that you say you didn't do it because it was not a good job for a wife or a mother to have, because
Yeah,
I chose my career in a large part because of the fact that I was going to be a wife or a mother. I don't know that it was like that I like wanted that. It was just like what it was going to be. And I'm happy with it. Like I absolutely love it. I wouldn't choose something different, but I realized that there are so many different routes of happiness, and I think if I hadn't went the marriage and kids route, I think that I would have ended up traveling like my brother Matthew. Like I have so many friends that do that. I get to live like vicariously through who they just travel around and
yeah.
do you think
I
you
could
ever would
see
have
you
done
being
something
happy
like
doing
that?
stuff like that. I think you and me could have had a lot of fun in a lot of places, doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, yeah, I just had
We, yeah,
yeah. And we still can. We'll go back. It's just it's not as easy once you've already, established. There are certain things that are
established
better
and had
to
kids and things.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I
But
absolutely love
there's
being a
always
wife
still
and a
time
mom. Like
hmm
and I'm so grateful that I get to do it and it's not like only a hardship on me like it is on some. So,
on some.
yeah.
Well, excuse me, that kind of takes us into what we're talking about today, which is the commencement address that Harrison Butker gave.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say a
I've
lot of
I've heard it
silly
both ways.
things like butt kiss or they
Uh-huh.
just say butt
Well,
face,
he's
dumb
definitely
stuff.
ignited a lot of big feelings in people.
Yeah.
But I have to start off with saying, like, I understand him because I
I
was
was
him.
him. Yeah.
I 100% was. So
Yeah.
I can see where he's coming from and why he thinks the way he does. He just may be a little tone deaf in places, like
A lot tone deaf in places.
a lot
Well,
tone deaf in
he's
places.
still drinking certain amounts of Kool-Aid
Yeah,
because
absolutely is.
yeah.
Which everyone is allowed to do. We're
Yeah.
allowed to choose our own Kool-Aid.
Whatever works for
And
you and makes you happy. Sure.
yes,
And
absolutely.
in
And
saying
he
that,
is
I would say I wish I'd never even saw it. It wasn't intended for me. I was not
yeah,
the target audience. It was for
the Catholic
Catholics.
college.
Yeah,
hmm
and or at least Christians, so like he wasn't addressing me at all. So I wish I hadn't seen it.
Hadn't seen
However,
it and
so
had an
many of the
opinion.
things
But
he's saying there have been so politicized that it makes it like, oh wait, so your belief that I'm fine with you having, like A-okay having, gets to dictate my life? You can
yep,
straight fuck yourself. Yeah.
that's where it comes in.
Your
The
fairy
thing that I
tales
thought,
do not get to have power here. Only for you and yours.
yeah. Well, and the thing that I kept thinking when I was going through this whole speech was this reminds me very much of people who find veganism or PETA or CrossFit or a certain type of diet, and they come to you and they're like, listen, I have found the way to live. I have never been happier or more healthy. Everyone should live this way. And most people are like, shut your face. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Whoopity doo. I'm glad you're doing it. I'm not going to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like it just,
And that's okay, because it's okay if that
yeah,
works for you. Not everything works for everybody. You
absolutely.
can still be
But it
happy for
doesn't
someone
mean
else. Yeah.
Mhm. Just because you're a vegan doesn't mean I'm not going to wear my leather shoes. Like I will try to be respectful to you and your beliefs, but at the same time, I don't share all of them. So
But
that's
yeah.
that's kind of the same vibe I'm getting from this one. Like,
Okay.
okay, sweet. I'm glad you're trying to stand for something. I'm glad you're finding a good way that works for you in your life. Like, good job, but it may
Um,
not work for everybody.
I
So,
will a little the the parts that really were just specifically for like the Catholic faith, where they,
mhm.
kind of digging on them.
Yeah.
talking about the Latin, what was it?
Yeah, we'll
The
get there.
Latin mass.
Well,
Oh, we are. You
we're
have
gonna
okay, cool. Well,
yeah,
I'm just gonna
I've
let you
got
guide
a
this
lot
then.
here.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm gonna
yeah.
sit back and allow you to like take me for a ride then.
Well, okay, so I hate it when you get little snippets of speeches that are kind of taken out of context and like he said this, what a twat, blah, and it's completely taken out of context. So I just kind of went through the whole thing and just took it bit by bit. And I'm sorry if it's really boring to people, but we're gonna see what he actually said in here. The good,
Mhm.
the bad, the ugly, everything. And I tried to keep it objective. I didn't want to like torch and pitchfork and like you twat because I really was like that. When you are raised or surround yourself with an echo chamber of people who just think the way that you think that one, that's the way it should be, and two, that everyone just needs to get on board. You're just waiting for everybody to figure out the same thing that you
Yeah,
thought.
because
You know what I
you're
mean?
right. You're just waiting for them to be right
Hmm.
also.
That's why I would give talks in church in our speech class and things like that on the modest dressing and the evils of alcohol and the evils of pornography and when people would like they'd open it up to rebuttal in our speech class and I would always be surprised when people had a different opinion because I would be like, wait, what? Like, of course alcohol is terrible. Like, why would anybody use it? Like, you can't
Oh,
defend that. Like,
do you know what I did for my speech? You were in my speech class, weren't you?
we were in the same speech class,
Because
yes.
I did a demonstrative speech on how to make a nanner butter sandwich, toast, peanut butter, and bananas. So you're
And it
doing
worked.
speeches on, oh, it was fun. It was fun and it was
Well, I
delicious.
did a speech on how anybody who watched pornography was just Ted Bundy in the making.
Oh
So,
my
yeah, I
God.
can see why people would maybe have
I don't
an
even
issue with
remember
that.
that. Oh,
I
but
do. I do. And I
you were
believed it
definitely
wholeheartedly.
thinking more deeply, I think, than I was at the time.
Well, I
I
was
was just here
in
for a
my little
good
echo
time.
chamber and
Yeah, and
I was in my little echo chamber.
I believe I don't know. That was like part of my life, but now that I'm out of it, I realize I don't think I ever truly had a belief because I never actually, I would try to make myself feel things, but only, I guess I just God didn't
Well,
like me. He was like, "Nah, I'm
you
never
don't need
gonna
spiritual
get."
experiences.
Yeah. No, no. Well, and I would say I had spiritual, but they were I could see outside of them. I could see how the situation like, you know what I mean? Like there
Maybe
was
it
this
wasn't God, maybe it was talented surgeons,
There were,
or maybe it
yeah,
was
well, there was this time where when we came on, we never went on vacation. We go on a vacation to Florida, which is really just, I'm 16, it's to see my mom's
grandma.
sister. So it's just a family, that's our vacation. And while we are there just happens to be a church camp going on. So they send us on a church camp with other people. So we went to a church
You
camp
met
in
some people
Florida.
there that
Yeah, I
we're
did,
still
who we were friends with in Utah later on in college. But um they they had us like up in the woods camping and stuff, and they sent us out this one day and we had to walk in like just any direction and then stop and be completely alone, and we were supposed to like pray and and then like write your testimony, and you're supposed to put it in this like envelope. And um so I do this, and really I am feeling so fearful. I'm in the middle of a place I'm not comfortable with, in the middle of like there, I'm just so afraid of like some wild creature, I guess. So like I was
yeah.
already like so on edge that when I sat there and cried and tried to write my testimony, and I kept trying to say, I know, and I would stop myself and be like, I believe. I couldn't even write in my own testimony that I knew anything about the church. I would say, I believe, because I was
Which
like
makes sense
trying.
now.
Yeah, because I was trying so fucking hard because I was so good and I lived by everything. Like I ended up not drinking till after 21, didn't start marijuana until in my 30s, and then got my medicinal card like to, like
Yeah.
I like,
We went through all of college with no alcohol. Like,
oh no. And like it's good to be smart with alcohol, but like that's also kind of a rite of passage. Like it's used in a bad way because people are using it to medicate and get over their bad lives, I think, more so than anything. You know what I mean?
well,
It
yeah,
becomes a
and now don't
crutch,
you
but that doesn't make it inherently bad. There are a lot of fucking crutches out there. I mean, it's not good for you long term, obviously, for health reasons, but like, I wish we had got a drink in college, is all I'm saying.
well, and it's so much better to have like an understanding of like what it is and like how to
How
use it
to do
responsibly
it.
and what it means
Yes.
instead of just have this like blanket, it's evil.
Avoidance.
Don't
It's evil. It's bad. And
creates
yeah,
this
and then you
weird.
yeah, but then you end up in bad situations because you don't know how to handle yourself around it. Because instead of
Mhm.
actually teaching and talking about it and just being responsible about it, we go, it's the same way with sex and everything, with like
There's a lot of things.
that
Yeah.
religious kind of mindset. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry I
Okay.
took you
Well,
off
we
track.
better.
Back
No, you're
back to
good.
it.
We'll get started here. But
Yeah.
okay, so he starts out. I had to laugh just a little bit on this one because he's saying that this group of students that he's speaking to, they are the ones that were in high school during COVID, right? They didn't get to walk for their graduations because everything was weird then.
Yeah.
And he said that was all caused by bad leaders who don't stay in their lane. So he just premised this whole talk was going to be about staying in your lane. And I'm like,
And
and
then he
then you
proceeded to
proceed
veer so
to, yeah,
far.
to not stay in his lane. He veered pretty heavily. So what?
And he did say these were
Oh,
just based off his experiences, but it's just still
yes, he
like,
did.
but to be saying it to everybody else while
Maybe
not realizing how you are not doing it yourself is just kind of like silly.
maybe he should have specified what staying in your lane means, because I
Because he didn't. Okay, he didn't.
he didn't. He didn't. Okay, so he said, um, COVID caused these people to this class to miss out on many things, and it negatively impacted their lives. However, it was not the only thing in this time period to negatively impact their lives, and this is his list of other things that have a have a net negative impact.
Okay.
Bad policies, that makes sense. Bad leadership have a negative impact on a lot of things. Abortion, IVF, in vitro fertilization, surrogacy, euthanasia, and degenerate behavior, which I assume he's meaning like homosexuality, but he didn't specify there. But
Yeah.
IVF, really? You can't do in
Wait,
vitro fertilization? Like, you can't get help to have children?
did you see what he said about birth control?
Yes, we'll
Obviously you
get to
did. You
that
read the
too.
whole thing. But like that
Uh-huh. Yeah.
along the same lines, he clearly does not see women as anything other than like
Baby makers.
basically, like I don't think he
Like,
realizes it, but like to ascribe somebody to that and like it really should be a choice, buddy. Like it is so important to want your kids. It is so important to know how to take
my
care of your
gosh,
kids. There's so like there are just so many things that it's like just fucking making people have kids is not gonna like you're not improving quality of
does
life
not
for
make good
anybody. You're
parents.
creating more people just for the sake of creating people into a fucking broken system. Like you're not thinking anything through.
If you've ever seen, like, how do I describe this? Even when I was a teenager, I babysat a crap ton. I babysat my brothers and sisters. I babysat the neighbors' kids. I babysat for a very long time,
I
right?
babysat my teacher's kids.
Hmm. And there were times I freaking loved kids. And I'm like, yeah, I could be a mom. And there were times where I'm like, get these kids away from me. I don't want to ever see them again. Like, I am not ready to be a mom. This is not my time. I don't want to be doing this, right?
And I was like, I'm
Which sounds
fine with no,
horrible, but like,
no. I was like, I'm fine with kids, but like I'm so grossed out by like the poop and everything that I was really like and
yeah, you would be,
also I
huh?
was really fearful of medical things because I'd had, medical things when I was younger. And so like it just I knew that it was going to be a like a hard thing on my body too. So I think those things did make me a little fearful of becoming a mom. So I don't think I ever gave it a lot of thought. It was just that I knew it was what I was doing because it was
Hmm.
as much as they
Drilled into
say,
you.
yeah, it was just so drilled into me, like my purpose. My purpose. It didn't matter how much they told me I could do other things. When you're given a fucking purpose, you
He
don't
said,
know
this is
you can
exactly what
you
your body was
don't know.
made
Yeah,
for,
yeah.
and
And
how dare you stray?
to an extent, yes, yes, that is our bodies are capable of that, and that is how we procreate. Of course, yes, we know this.
Mhm.
But like it like just because that's what our bodies can do doesn't mean we just do it and without like the proper measures in place to make sure that people can do it and thrive. People can do it and have a good life, and we don't have all these different levels of poverty and stuff. Like, who wants to continue this fucking system?
It's a rough one. It's yeah. Well, we'll get to a lot of that. You're like pinging things in my brain where I'm like,
I'm
okay,
sorry.
that comes later. No, you're good.
No.
So yeah, that one got me. I can see why he said abortion because he's Catholic, but IVF and surrogacy, like I know people who have been surrogates and they've blessed the lives of others who have not been
Yeah.
able to have babies on their own.
Yeah.
Like, why is that such a terrible thing?
Here's another thought. Sorry, that just if you he says at one point in time playing God with the birth control,
Hmm.
like it's not you in telling women what to do with their body are playing a sort of God. Like you are asserting a control over another being. Like you
And not only that, but
like
that sometimes has a detrimental effect. I was talking to my kids about this week. Um, the first time I got pregnant, I lost the baby, and my body did not get rid of it on its own. And so I had to go into the doctor and have essentially an abortion. The baby
Mhm.
was already gone, but I had to go
Yeah,
have a DNC.
I
And
remember.
then after that, yeah, like I got pregnant like a month later, which is really early, but I got pregnant a month later. Had I not had that DNC, I might not have had my oldest child. Like maybe you're stopping people from having babies. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah, they're really
Like,
not. Yeah,
but it's not about that. It's just about
it's not.
even if they don't think so, it is about control. It's about
Yeah,
making
100%.
everybody fall into line
Yeah,
with their
and
beliefs.
like you you know, I don't know. I don't even know how to address that one, so I'm just gonna let you keep
Yeah.
going and not interrupt.
Well, he said that all of these things
Mm.
were brought to pass because we're led by a fake Catholic. I think he's talking about Biden, but I'm not
Yes,
sure. He
yeah.
doesn't specify.
Biden is openly Catholic, and like honestly, like I know people don't like him, but I don't think he's a bad guy. He's old and
Yeah.
dumb, and he's like
I think he's
every
yeah,
other corporate
my
politician
shirt's kind of
who
weird.
is like funded by people who tell him like he's not really in power. The people
Yeah.
who, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I have issues with him, but
Me too, but
none of it has been because he's Catholic.
yeah.
So, but he says that the problem is that he had the audacity to make the sign of the cross during an pro-abortion rally. So that's why the president's no good. He's not a good Catholic.
Uh-huh.
He said he mistakenly thinks that you can be Catholic and pro-choice. So you can't be Catholic and pro-choice, which I think a lot of Catholics would disagree.
I would hope so. At least the women would
Yeah.
understand
But
that
I think
it's healthcare and it literally people will die without certain like access
Mhm.
to that as a healthcare. And did you know I just saw this thing and but the part of the abortion pills, I think it's two or whatever, so that there's like a
Okay.
way to like one of those meds like specifically is used for a lot of other things like stopping
Yeah.
bleeding and period and things like that. And so like they don't even realize or care that they're actually messing with so many aspects of healthcare by just like blocking things and
Yeah.
making doctors afraid of like being able to treat their patients properly. Like they're making decisions that they should not be making. Like you believe something, great, good for you. But like we have doctors and professionals who can tell you that this is important healthcare.
Saves
But
lives.
even
Yeah.
outside of the fact that it's healthcare, it is a decision to be made between the woman and the doctor. It is her body.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
there is literally
And
nothing where for a man that they be put in that situation where they would not have a say
well,
about that with their body.
yeah. And I think it's hard for guys because if you get a woman pregnant and she doesn't want to be, that can be extremely sad. I mean, there's,
Yes, sad for sure. Uh-huh. Yeah. Um,
yeah, it's,
but most people like so how did you knock that girl up? You know what I mean? Were you in a marriage? Had you talked about it? Were you actually making a decision? Or did you knock someone up
Yeah.
and they did not plan this for their life and you don't get to fucking decide what their life is? Like, if you got someone pregnant without actually thinking it through yourself, like, how dare you get to think you get to decide what she does with your orgasm?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I like that. Okay, we'll move on because there's a lot. But he says fake Catholics, people who, go by the name Catholic but aren't really staying in their lane and towing the line there.
Okay.
Says fake Catholics are responsible for the COVID lockdowns and gender identity issues. So there you go.
Yeah,
Now
which
you know.
really it's just that they're really afraid of gender identity issues, it would seem. Because it's like
Yeah.
there have been different gender identities for a long time. You're just so attached to your understanding of it and the way you feel, which I know you're going to get here. Or no, maybe you won't because this is not part of the speech. Have you heard the rumor about him?
That he's gay?
And the cheer, yeah.
And the male cheerleader, I heard just briefly.
Yeah. So I have no idea the validity of that. But I have seen that they've done studies where like some of the most homophobic have been turned on by like
Gay porn and things.
yeah. And it's like it makes complete sense because it's something that they have had to like deny of themselves and it's disgusting and it's wrong and they had to shut it down. But that causes your body to have all these different like anxieties and reactions to things because you've had to like, you know.
Yeah, sexual
And I'm
repression
like,
is
yeah, and I'm not
causes
saying he
horrible
is,
things.
but also I wouldn't care if you were. Only people who are like really obsessed with other people, honestly, because they do not
Yeah.
affect you in the slightest.
Yeah.
All of the things, the reason you're afraid of them has been propaganda. The real problem is something else right in front of your eyes that you can't see.
Yeah. Well, it's that echo chamber, man. If
Mhm.
they're all telling you the same thing, you can't see past it. And
Yeah.
it,
And I lived
it
in it.
causes
I
all
lived
sorts
in
of
the
things.
echo chamber, and I know I live in my own little echo chamber now. I know I'm not 100% right. But I'm
Yeah.
okay with learning if you can give me like some real valid, like I cannot be just based on your belief because that's great for
Yeah.
you, but it can only be for you, really. We all get to live our own
Yeah.
life. Yeah. Anyways,
And then there's a lot you can't prove to me. Like it's just a belief system. So,
exactly. Like, and I don't even want it proved to me. Like, I don't need it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel comfortable. Like the idea
and it
of a
feels like,
God, like a who, I don't know, just like it's hard to imagine that he's all knowing. Like this was your plan. Okay, okay,
yeah,
whatever. I don't
who
know.
cares that much about
I don't
when and where
know.
and who you
I,
orgasm with
I'm
that?
not. Yeah, and I don't know if I'm your child because like the way I love my kids feels like different level.
Well,
Like
different.
I couldn't judge them the way you could judge me. I just I just want them to be happy
Yeah.
and be good people,
That's what I tell
help
my kids.
others. Yeah.
My youngest, I tell him all the time when he gets mad that I tell him no to something or I like want to correct his behavior if he's being mean.
Yeah.
Like, hey, my number one job besides just loving you is to make sure that you don't grow up to be an asshole. Like that's it. I get to love you and try to make sure you don't grow up to be an asshole. So that's what I'm trying to do here.
Yes. I'm always having to tell Elena like like sometimes there are just rules in society that we've all agreed upon. Um and those are just to help us all kind of flow. So like the fact that your teacher gets to tell you what to do is because she has 20 kids that and I'm just really trying to get it through to her head because she's the boss.
Yeah. It's hard to tell kids who know that they're the boss that they need to play second fiddle because
Yeah.
you're like, that's not my job. My job is numero uno el jefe. Okay, so moving along.
Thank you.
He says that God has given him this platform to speak his mind and to tell people hard truths, the first of which being stay in your lane.
Telling people
It's
his beliefs. Okay, cool. But to his own
Mhm.
believers, so it like other believers. So I guess it's fine, whatever you
Yeah.
guys know.
But I think
Get
even
out
in
of the
this community,
politics.
he's an extreme version.
I do think so.
Like,
Yeah.
I think because, and I will get there
The Latin movement,
tell you. No, that too. But
or it's
yeah,
not
I'll
movement.
when
Latin
he
mass.
talks
There we
about
go.
Latin Mass,
Yeah, sorry.
when he makes the comment about Pride Month, there was a large audible gasp in the back, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah,
So
I didn't know that happened. That's awesome that people were like, dude,
like,
God.
hold up, wait a minute. Yeah. Um, he says Catholics need to not just live their religion quietly, which we heard a lot growing up as Mormons, same thing, and which now being outside of it is like what that means for the rest of us is not good.
Yeah, it's not
Like
good. The
it's
rest of us, like, we have a say, and uh, like people will, I guess, let people come to you.
live by example, and if it's a good way to live, people will come to you.
Yes,
Like
exactly. Yeah.
the only thing that being loud with your religion and being more forceful brings is just wars and discontent. Like that's how so many world wars have begun, or like
Yeah. But even on just a low level, like uh, it
it creates an us versus them mentality, and it's just
or
not good.
just like makes it hard to like relate to even your own family when there's such a divide, when you know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
like, yeah, wars and things like that, that's on a large scale, but even just like within families and stuff like that, like, because they
Hmm.
believe it so staunchly that to have their people like not believe it, sometimes people will, disown their kids and, horrible things. And I think those
Yeah,
people are just literally horrible. It's kind of like, wow, you don't even know how bad, like you had a child in a world with limited resources that's really fucked right now, and it's so hard to survive, and you're gonna put them out like, go fuck yourself, but
yeah.
my parents would never do that. But it's just that there's that divide between, because their entire personality is it. So even though I know they're not hateful, like I know they still have these like just
Doesn't
judgmental, like I'm like,
always.
they're not even hurting you, why do you even care? Like, I don't know. Did I
Yeah,
even like follow a
it.
coherent thought there?
I understood.
Okay, thank
It
you.
does not lend itself to like good feelings in families and good feelings in communities and good feelings in countries. Like
Yeah,
we have to allow for different beliefs than our own. We just do. It,
we do.
I don't know. And can you imagine if everyone throughout history had stayed in their lane? Like the movers and the shakers, the ones who didn't are the ones who stand out and the ones who make life better and the ones who like make discoveries and figure
Yeah.
things out. And
Stay in your lane is
you don't
what
need everybody to
someone
stay
who
in their
wants
lane.
to control maybe the
It makes it
narrative or
easier to control. That's
hmm
exactly what staying in your lane does. It makes it easier for those in charge,
hmm
which
Granted, I do
there's,
believe in stay in your lane though, because the politicians being, lobbied by like drug companies and stuff, then like making decisions based on that and not just letting them like medical professionals
yeah.
do it, but like there are
So there is a
certain
place for
places
staying in your
there
lane.
is, you know what I mean? Because we do have
Yeah.
to people have studied and become professionals. And I get that people are wary of science because corporations have been able to pay to have scientific studies done that, are
Yeah.
misleading. That doesn't make scientists bad, though.
Yeah.
It's just like the whole
That is true.
people being afraid of trans people because some guy's gonna dress up like his woman and go into the bathroom. You're not afraid of trans people. You're afraid of cis men using that as another reason to abuse. You know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah.
mad at the wrong thing.
Mad at the wrong problem.
Yeah.
Yes, agreed. He said, let's see, Catholics need to not live their religion quietly. They need to get their house in order. Priests and bishops need to get in line and stop being so familiar with their congregations. Like, stop trying to be buddy buddy with them and tell them the hard truths, right?
Man, you're
He
like,
says,
what is better than a church family? That sounds like a
yeah,
church dictatorship.
mm-hmm,
That's the only thing I
yeah.
miss from church.
Well, it's yeah, right.
Just be kind to
Well, he's
people.
like, I think he's trying to say like, stop trying to be the cool mom, be the real mom that lays down the law. But Yeah. The thing that I cringed and laughed
Lead by
on was how he's
example.
like,
Again, don't lay down the law. Lead by example.
yeah. I love how he said, my teammate's girlfriend says familiarity breeds contempt. First of all, that was Geoffrey Chaucer in the 1300s in his book. That's where she got it.
But
Yes,
he
my
would.
teammate's girlfriend, just dropping that name there. One T Swifty. Yeah,
That's awesome.
my teammate's girlfriend. Yeah, good job there, dude. Good job.
I love me some
That's
Taylor
his way of being
Swift.
like, I've met Taylor Swift before. Have you met Taylor Swift?
I
Maybe if you were
haven't.
a good Catholic, you too could meet Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift, do you want to come on our podcast?
I'm sure she would.
That would be so fun. Let's start, like that bacon to Payson movement to
There
get
you
him there
go.
for the prom. We're gonna do
Which worked. He
Taylor
was there.
to picket fence. I don't know. We'll work on
Taylor
that.
to the picket
We'll hash
fence.
that out later. Anyways,
We'll get it. I'll get right on that.
yeah, thanks.
Me and T Swift.
Yeah.
I'd probably have more luck getting Geoffrey Chaucer. Okay. He says, some want to see the priest as just another man, but that's not so. And when I heard that, there was like, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Like, no. Some want to see the priest as just another man, but that's not so. No, that is so. He's just a dude.
Yes.
As soon as somebody says, I speak for God, those bells and whistles go off. So like that's a trigger for
lost
me.
your mind.
You've lost your credibility in my
Yeah.
mind because there are so many people that think they speak for God
Yeah.
that screw things up. That like,
Yeah.
you got, from our past, you've got Joseph Smith that told young girls like, hey, I speak for God and God's telling me that you need to marry me even though you're only 15 years old and you don't want to, and like your whole family's eternal salvation depends on it. So it's up to you, but I speak for God.
Yeah.
No.
But
You
but you
got
make this choice for yourself.
You got Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell who think they speak for God and they got to decide who lived and died. Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Something tells me your kids wanted to live. They
Yeah.
wanted to live. And your spouses and everyone else. Like there's so many places where sorry. That's you can tell that's a sticking point for me.
Yeah.
I don't anybody who says they speak for God, I immediately I'm off.
Yeah,
And
like
even in little
if you're
things.
just even talking about God, I'm kind of off. Like like I don't know if I believe in a God or like maybe there's a higher power. That's fine. I like talking about it, I guess,
Yeah.
in the sense of like what could it be, but just like
And I felt like I've
I
gotten
don't know, like
inspiration for things
but
before. That's
but
a thing. But
yeah, sure. But like talking about it's fine. But like hearing that story again that I've heard on repeat and stuff, I'm like, like I could do without, like, I know he exists for you and like, but just like, I don't know. Like it doesn't hurt me, but I also have no desire to talk about it. It's like, I don't know how to like equate it. Like maybe like
yeah.
when somebody's really, really into something and you're just not into it, maybe it could be maybe somebody's really into comic books and you're really not. That's like a hard gap to bridge because there's so much
Yeah.
to it where it's just like I'm glad you love that. But like my brain is
Happy
not
for
even
you.
like, yeah, but my brain can't even go there like after like maybe 10 minutes, maybe 10, 15 solid minutes or something. Sure, I can engage and be like, well, that's pretty neat, engage about something that somebody else likes because I'm all about people having passions.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel
But
like
you
that
can't make yourself
kind of a weird
like
part of this with Anthony's like I don't know his mental illness or whatever, like part of it his insecurity, I don't even know what you call it, but early on in our marriage, he couldn't do anything unless I was doing it too. Like he wanted to do karate, but he
the
didn't
body
want to,
double.
he didn't want to take time away from the family. Like it was rude. So it like needed to be, you know what I mean? Like he couldn't take this. I don't know why and I think I was also very much like, oh, I need to be with you. We were just in that like really
Codependent
very
stage.
codependent. Well, but it didn't have to be that way, but it's just, we didn't really have any good like nobody taught us anything about it or we hadn't gone through
Yeah.
I guess stuff to learn yet, but either way, I digress.
Are you good?
So help me get back to where I was going.
So Anthony couldn't do anything without
Oh
having a body
yeah.
double, having
Yeah. So ultimately he would try things. I'd do it for a while, and like I would really dislike it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I really don't like being hit or being like, and I don't like being next to other people's sweaty bodies. Like that's really uncomfortable for me. Like it's just not for me. Like
Mhm.
I'll do a kickboxing class where I'm not touching people, but he, it just. So when I would quit, then he
Yeah.
would end up quitting not too long after, and it was just like, I don't know. It's okay for everybody to have their own thing, and I kind of feel that way about God, I guess. Like when
Hmm.
it's your thing, like I'm so glad it's your thing, but
Yeah,
like
but I can't
you
get
can
on
you
board
can
because it's not.
yeah, yeah. So like that whole living out loud and always having to be like
Hmm.
it's hard when it's someone's whole personality and you're like I love you, but like I can only take so much before I'm just
Maybe
like
can
my
we talk
brain,
about something else? Yeah,
anything else, like but then
surely
sometimes
there's,
there's nothing else because it's like,
if it's your whole personality, which
yeah,
I went through a phase where it was my whole personality.
yeah,
Like really, it was because
it
I
was.
took everything that was told to me at church as gospel, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't I? If this is what God is telling me to do, then why wouldn't
Yeah,
I live it 100%? Like,
of course, yeah.
anyways. So, okay, we'll just keep
You
going.
know what I think was so helpful for me? That my
Mm.
older brothers left the church when they were younger because I got to always see them and look up to them and I knew they weren't members of the church. It was hard
And
for
they
me
were
to
still
and it was
happy and
and it
doing
was
cool
and it
things,
was
and
hard
like,
for me to see them as bad because they were like the coolest people I knew and they were
because they're
so
not.
they were so funny and they were always coming home and helping mom and dad and like they were just living their lives and I knew they were doing things that like the church was saying was wrong, but I just could not say my brothers are wrong. Like
Yeah.
so I think that
Well,
helped
and
me a lot to just be like, it lost credibility when it was telling me those people are bad.
and imagining your brothers being anybody but who they are is like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that would
And
have been a
thankfully,
disservice to the
they
world.
just at young ages were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I don't believe this, so I'm gonna be doing something else. You just go do it."
Yep. But they
Yeah,
never made fun of you really for staying with the church. They just,
no, really, they
I'm doing
respect
something
it.
different.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they
Okay.
never really talked to us about it at all. They let us
Wasn't a thing.
eventually. No, exactly.
Yep.
Anyways,
Okay. Throughout history, there have been wars, famines, and disease, but it never stopped the church from performing its duties, is what he was saying here.
okay.
He said today's priests shouldn't be afraid of being sued, of spreading disease, or breaking laws in quarantine. Like he's talking about how during COVID, a lot of churches like shut down and the priests stopped performing their like last rites and things because they didn't want to spread disease. Like,
Yeah,
and they didn't want to get sued and they wanted to follow the guidelines that were being put forth that everybody was supposed to live by. And Mr. Butker, was
he was saying
was saying that's wrong.
religion supersedes
Uh-huh.
medical advice.
Yeah. And he said we need to be more like Saint Damien of Molokai, who spent 16 years caring for people with leprosy. Like he wasn't afraid. He went out there and he took care of people with leprosy.
All
So I did a little
right,
bit of research
do
and he
it,
died of
Butker.
leprosy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but all right,
Like,
Harrison, go do it. If that's how you feel about it, oh my God, go put yourself in those situations because you cannot choose that for
yeah,
somebody else. Just like everything else, you think someone else should be doing that, but when it's you, I
as
bet you
long as
you
it's not
feel a
you.
little different. Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Mhm. I am
Sorry.
super in awe of people who do go and do things like that, like put
Mhm.
themselves in harm's way to help other people. And I ask myself if I would do the same. And like sometimes it's yes, and sometimes it's like this would not be the right time of life for it because I've got people who depend on me. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it. And yes, that is super honorable that he would go and serve for 16 years and then die of leprosy, the same disease he was fighting 16 years later. But
Mhm.
you can't expect that of people. Like
You don't get to
you
have
should you
expectations of
should
other
be
people
willing
like
to
that.
martyr yourself.
Yourself,
Like,
yeah, sure. You can do that for you. You
yeah,
go do it.
yeah. So yeah, don't be afraid of death, priests. You need to stand up. Um, and he talked about how he needs to stay in his lane too with his job and his family, right? Which is fine. He's allowed to do whatever. Um, oh yeah, here's where the audible gasp came.
Okay.
He said, I'm certain the reporters at the AP couldn't have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but, real pride. And as soon as he said that, there was a huge audible, like,
I'm
gaspy
so glad
murmur,
to
like,
hear that. I'm so glad to hear that.
well, how many people in the congregation were gay? How many people
Y-
have gay family members or gay
Yes.
friends or gay? It's like
And
we've
stop,
been
like, they're
past
just
this.
humans. They are just humans. Telling a human that the way they feel is a deadly sin and making them conform the way that you are is not
Fit into
healthy,
your
not
box.
good. Yeah, fit into your box, but let us have our own shape.
Hmm. Yeah, that one was tone deaf. I think he's
Yeah.
missed the boat on
Because
that one because
the LGBTQ movement is literally hurting nobody. It's against your religion, but it's just a
well,
part
and
of people's lives, and people just are who they are. And I'm sorry that you accepted that you know, I hope you're
I was gonna say
fully happy, okay? I just hope you're fully happy, and someone who's fully happy doesn't judge other people this way. Stop judging
yes,
yourself, you'll
and
stop judging others.
there's a comment on that that I'll get to at the end too. But yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And if you look at what has happened since people have been allowed to be openly gay and to gay marriage has been allowed and things like that, you've had a lot less suicides. You've had a lot more like generally happy people. Got a lot more people that don't have to hide it. They can, if their partner gets in an accident, they can actually go to the hospital and be with them. Like they don't have to be written in history as their good friend or their,
Yeah.
lifelong
Oh my
amigo.
goodness. Yes, because we all have
Like,
like on Anthony's side, he has a cousin, Bobby, who always has a friend who comes with, and I
yep,
had Uncle David, who had a roommate who never came, like they
right?
never got to come to any family functions. He really didn't even talk. Like
Sorry.
it's so sad. Like they deserve that community too, just because they
Hmm.
are attracted to the same gender and allow themselves to act on it. Like they are not doing anything to hurt you. They're like literally just two humans being in love. They always bring it all just
Supporting
down
each
to,
other, helping
yeah,
each
but they
other.
all just bring it down just to sex. They don't see it as like a family member. Like we choose a husband and that's a family member now. Like they're part of our everything. They're like
Yeah.
when it comes to like LGBTQ, it's like all of a sudden it's not that. It's just about sex. They can't see that it's an entire relationship and it does not affect you. It just
Yep.
has nothing to do with you. And you feel so strongly. Why? Because of your religion. Great. Have that. Take it
Yeah.
over there and have that. I love
You're
that for
welcome to
you.
live that as much as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, but just stop
But
being
don't.
hateful and then using your vote to enforce your hateful rhetoric.
Mhm. Well, and I really don't think if there is a God, I don't think he's got his checkboard and he's going to wait for you when you come to heaven and be like, okay, how many people did you force into being like into the box? How many people did you get to do exactly what you think that I said? And he's no, leave me alone. He's not going to ask you about me. He's going to ask you about you. So go and be a good person. Go be a good person and don't be an asshole,
Yeah, just like your kids.
just like
That's
my kids.
yep.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. He says, in the complete surrender of self and in turning towards Christ, you will find happiness, which we heard in church all the time, all the time. And guess what? I was a lot happier when I decided to not surrender myself and I decided to see what I actually like and what I actually think and what I actually believe. And I feel like much more whole of a person.
yeah. I feel like a peace that I never knew before. Like
Hmm.
just there's an
Yeah.
internal buzzing of me like having to like fight reactions and thoughts and things that I didn't
Hmm.
even realize I was doing at times, but it's an internal buzzing that subsided because I let go of that
Yeah.
belief and it doesn't hold anything over me anymore. And it
Yeah.
feels good. And if this is bad, then I
And
don't
okay.
think, yeah, then okay. I don't think I want your version of what good is. Like,
I don't want that version of good because I always felt like I had missed the memo. Like I had I'm like trying to, my shirt's all weird. Um,
I'm
I've
wearing a
always felt like I
bathing
miss,
suit, so
are you?
yeah,
Cute.
I'm going. Maya's here. I'm going swimming right after.
Oh, fun.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
the dogs are playing. Anyways, carry on.
Well, I forgot. Oh, no, I always felt like I missed the memo. Like I wasn't measuring up. Like there was always something I could do to be a better, child of God, a better
I felt that.
whatever. I needed to do whatever I could to be a perfect version of the person I was expected to be. And now I can be like, okay, well, what brings me happiness? How can I treat other people? How can I help other people to have a good day today? How can
Yeah,
I, like, when I die, what do I want my life to have looked like? And
yeah. It's
that's
about the right now
awesome.
and like making this really good and helping people around you instead of
Yeah.
shooting for some eternal place where some people get a rotten hell, and that makes you really excited.
Yeah. Well, and there's so much, I see so many people in my own little circle who decide that they don't need to be happy in this life. They can endure to the end and then they'll get their reward. But this life is so important. It's
I
important to
know.
try to find good things here. It's important to be happy here. And they're like, oh, well,
And
that's
what
just
if
eat,
it's your
drink, and be
only
merry for
one?
tomorrow we die.
Yeah.
And it's like, well,
Yeah,
this is
I
all we
heard that
got.
way too often from my mom. Building a kingdom in heaven as she'd get screwed
Mhm.
over, as things would happen. And it was like building your kingdom in heaven. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, it would be
See?
nice to build something with you here, but I hope your heaven's good.
Right? This
Yeah.
life is incredibly important. It's so
Yeah.
important. And you don't see it till you
And I
back up
love
and you're
it.
like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a lot to love.
Yeah.
There's a lot to love. So if religion's your thing and you want to surrender yourself and turn toward Christ, I guess you can find some happiness there. But
Yeah.
in my experience, I feel a lot of happiness when I decide what happiness is for me and I decide how to accomplish that. Like
And I feel better not
it's
having a lingering fear of judgments, like, and trying to be like this thing that I'm not.
hmm agreed. Agreed. I think we're solid on that one. Fist
For
bump
sure. I'm
across
so
the state.
glad. I'm so glad that you got there because, like, wait, there you are. There you go. No, do it
Yeah,
again.
I went to the wrong choom. Yeah. Because for a while I wasn't there when you were, and I was like, if I could only explain it to
And we
her
were
and bring
both
her back to the fold.
sad. Like I was like, and I just wanted you to play with me again.
I got there. I got there. And we weren't like, you had nothing to do with my journey on my own. Like we kind of
Mm-mm.
reconnected
No,
after
no.
because we finally had stuff to talk about again.
I know. Like we would still, send funny things or talk here and there and check in, because
Yeah,
you're always still my bestie. But then we
of
weren't we
course.
weren't getting to bond and laugh the way that we used to for a while though. And I'm glad
Yeah,
that's
we have
back
a much more real connection now than we did in the
for
early
that
days of
short
me
story.
having
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, he says being locked in with your vocation and staying in your lane is going to be your surest way to find true happiness in this life. If you like your vocation and you like what you're doing, then sure, that could be a way to happiness. But if you don't, that's like a personal hell. Like if you're being forced to be locked into something you don't want to be locked into, I think
Yeah.
that would just push me over the edge.
Yeah.
I don't do
Well,
well
I think it's a
in
beautiful
situations.
thing to be able to be a stay-at-home mom and that some women like choose and love that. And I think that's awesome. I also
Yeah,
think that it's not realistic for so many moms and to say that's like,
that's
like
the only way.
well, yeah, and it's just
I
like most people need both people working anyways. And then even with that, like, I don't know, it's just
I
it's not
remember being a
actually
little
feasible
kid.
for everybody, even if they wanted it.
I remember being a little kid, and by little kid I mean like maybe 12-ish, 11, 12, and giving a talk in church about for I think it was for Mother's Day and how I was so glad that my mom was a stay-at-home mom and how I think all moms should strive for that kind of thing. And now I look back on it and I was like, there were so many working moms in that congregation. Like, what a freaking slap in the face. What a jerk face I was. Because not only that, but what is my mom doing right now? She is being a kick-ass therapist and she's like she went to school for a lot of the time I was growing up because she did want to have a vocation and she did want to keep progressing and
Mm-hmm.
just gaining knowledge. She just wanted to learn and wanted to make an impact somehow. And so that was important to her.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's not just important for girls though that they get to choose. Like I had posted a thing about this on Facebook and an old friend of ours commented on it and he's still very much like in the church and he was a convert like really looked
do I know
into
this friend?
really. No, you don't. He's from Indiana.
Okay,
But
got it.
he had made a comment about like what's wrong with this? He's like I've dreamt of being a homemaker and I'm like oh,
Yeah,
I should have said that's the point. You should be able to as a man too. It should be a discussion. There shouldn't be set roles. Like everybody has an affinity for different things. And like, while that works for a lot of people, saying that's how it has to be is just not like
not
right.
feasible. It
It's not
doesn't work
feasible.
always.
Yeah. And like,
And you just make people feel bad when they don't
yeah,
fall
fit
into
that.
that.
And me and Anthony, we took our like career paths and trajectory based on that. And now only later in life realized that we would have been so much better off because
Swapping
I
roles.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And if he could have because there's certain things like he literally doesn't mind cleaning the toilet.
Yeah.
It makes me want to vomit. Like I hate it. I hate the visceral reaction I have to it. I don't want it. I choose not to breathe most of the time because I,
Uh-huh.
have my overactive sensory issues. But
You
it's
were
just like
really good at holding
I
your breath.
I am. I still am really good at holding my breath. Sometimes I'll forget I'm not breathing and I'll just be like, I'm like, oh my God, why wasn't I breathing?
Something smelled off, and your body's like, nope,
I
not
know.
again.
I think it might be good for my cardio though, right? If you could like
Right? You would be
I
a
don't know.
great like free diver.
But I'm a terror. It makes me really nervous thinking about being underwater. So like I want to go
Me too.
snorkeling, but like I don't know.
I have lost the ability to hold my breath underwater. It panics my brain. I need more
Oh
practice, I
really?
guess. But
Oh,
yeah, like even doing like the dunks where you just put your face in cold water, like for like beauty treatments, I have a very hard time. I don't I don't like that.
interesting.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
like, should I breathe the water again?
I know I'm okay, but my brain says I'm not. Okay, speaking of like the lady situation, homemaker, everything, this is where his speech starts straying from his lane and hopping into his wife's lane. He
Okay.
he put a lot of words in his wife's mouth, and I hear she's okay with it. She's fine, but
Cool.
okay. He said, for the ladies present today, congratulations on amazing accomplishments. You should be proud of all you have achieved to this point in your young lives. But I want to speak directly to you briefly, because I think that it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. Okay, you've been
And
lied
I feel the
to.
exact same way about you.
Hmm.
You have had the most diabolical lies told to you.
Yes.
And
Cody's here. He says hello.
hi, Cody.
How was your workout?
Oh, you're hot. Oh.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Easy now. We got to keep going.
She'll be there soon.
So,
Don't worry. Go get ready
so
for
back to
her.
how women are objects. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I am I'm happy to be your object anytime.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's earned
I
that
like
one.
that Anthony. Yeah, I know I'm
Oh.
Anthony's toy also. He's
Yep.
mine. We have fun.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever a time when like if you didn't want to be, it would be different. But if you do, it's like,
Fun.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay. Okay, we've had the most diabolical lies told to us, right?
Yes.
How many of you are sitting here about to cross this stage and are thinking about all of the promotions and the titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world.
They all literally chose to go to college, dude.
Uh, I mean, okay, my favorite calling in the whole world is wife and mom. I love it, and that even made me cringe. Like, God damn, like, oh, Sir. I loved reading the comments. My all-time favorite one was, yeah, you study hard for this career and you've got really great aspirations, but have you ever thought of making me a sandwich?
I know.
Like,
I know. Actually, I don't know how much longer I can be here. I probably should be in the kitchen right now. Like,
right? I am barefoot and I have an urge to make food, but and I love how he's like, I would venture to guess that. Like, would you? Have you asked women? Do you know women? Are you a woman, sir? I don't. I would venture to guess. Well, you made a good guess. I mean,
we
it's
did it.
great, great, sir. I would venture to guess that all of you who have just completed your degrees here are not wanting anything to do with them.
Yeah, I'm really just ready to let it go and stay at
You,
home. You didn't want
you
to do anything
ladies,
with these degrees. You had literally no aspiration. Just kidding. I know he
you
wasn't
ladies
saying
who
that,
came to get a, yeah,
but but
you
then again,
ladies who
he
came to
is
get,
saying that, like as though it is their chosen vocation. It comes from a greater place, that vocation. So it
Mhm.
supersedes your real wants, and it needs to
It's
become
that,
want.
it's that thinking, the echo chamber thing where you think that because you feel so strongly about something, that everybody else should just, they're either with you on this or they will be with you on this because this is the right thing.
Hmm.
And it's not for everybody. The only people who should be having children are people who want to have children.
Hmm.
Period. We don't need a lot of parents going around who despise their offspring and
Yeah,
who like
because the offspring know that you know what I mean?
they
And
feel that. And
yeah.
it's
I've seen
it's
things of
just not
like
for
adopted children too, where they're like, like think about like you're choosing that for somebody. You're choosing them to not to have to go through the trauma of being an adopted kid. And like
well,
some
I'm
for
okay
some
with
it's
her.
no, I know, but what I'm saying, for some it's great, but for some it's not. So just saying a woman should have to carry to full term so that they can like adopt it out, that's not actually
Mhm.
thinking about the baby either, because you can't ensure anything for that child's life beyond that point. You just
Yeah.
want the life. That's all. You just want the body,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah. Ugh. That one, that section was a little hard to hear. Like, I would venture to guess. Do you? Do you venture to guess, sir? Okay. He says, I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. That's problematic as well. Her life truly started when she became a wife and a mother. That is a kick-ass part of my life. It is
Yeah, yeah.
the most, yeah, one of the most impactful things of my life. Being a wife, being a mother, awesome things.
Yeah.
My life did not start when I met my husband. I had
Me.
a life before that. I had you, I had brothers and sisters, I had
Yeah.
family. Her life finally started when she met me
Yeah.
and made me sandwiches. Like, that's problematic.
Yeah. It's
I
stupid,
didn't like
really.
that.
It's
I did not like that. And,
and he just
some would
means it
say
as like it's her divine
it's her
calling. And so
divine
that's when
calling
she
and she's
really
finally
came into
doing,
her. Yeah. But it's
yep. It is a wonderful part of life if it's something that you see in your own life. If it's something that you've chosen for your life, it's an amazing part of life. There are things I have learned from my husband, from my kids, I would never have learned otherwise. I am a whole different human being having been a wife and a mother.
yes,
That
for
being
sure.
said, that being said, it's not for everybody.
No.
It's super not for everybody. And being forced into being a wife and a mom, I've seen it. I have seen women grow up in the church that we were a part of, being told, your job is wife and mom, your job is wife and mom, your job is wife and mom, and they get married and have kids, and they're like, this is actually not what I wanted. Like,
My mom would never ever say that because I think she did want kids.
mhm,
However,
yeah,
um
well, this is
my
what I
my
always
mom, I
wanted.
know, but my mom is just not the most nurturing human. Like it's just not her.
Yeah,
She has a hard time emoting because of the way she was raised
yeah,
anyways. But she has 10 children. Like you cannot give 10 children the amount of attention
one-on-one
actually that
attention.
like I don't know, like it's just you can't have the relationship that I think is really special, like that I would love to have with her and that I get to have with my kids. when you have that
Mhm.
much. So I think she would say that she would have chose it, but I also know that she was like she she was a musician and she was a writer. Like she's an intellect. Like I think without that ascribed to her, like
Mhm.
she might have actually thought about other things that she would have liked to do. But I think she loved being a wife and a mom too. You know what I mean? I think it can still always
Mhm.
be good, but it's just I like the things that from like her youth that I've heard about her, like her being invited to be in that like elite band and stuff like I've never seen any of it because she just became wife and
She
mom.
let it,
She is
she
she
completely surrendered herself
mm-hmm,
in turning towards Christ and motherhood,
mm-hmm. And none of
and we
that
miss
stuff
out
that
on
I
actually getting to know who they are.
yeah, exactly. And it's sad. And it's hard. Like I think I've told you before how my therapist said you're never gonna get like what you want out of your mom because at a certain age, like it's hard to like your brain's kind of solidified, I think. So like just like you're never gonna change the way she
Yeah,
thinks. So just meet her at her level to like get to know her. But it's like
it's
I don't know.
hard.
I'm very 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 busy with the having a relationship with my own kids. It's hard to be chasing my
Other
mom to have a
relationships now.
relationship, but you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm there for it. I invite them to everything. I love them. I go see them occasionally, but like
Mhm.
it's almost like awkward, like strangers. Give them a hug and I love them, and I really do. Like I love them and I want good for them. I just don't even know what to like. Oh, it's just weird.
Don't know much about who they are as a human being.
No, I know that their like worldviews right now different from mine, so we like try to stay away from like it's like
Political
I don't even
discussions.
yeah, but like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like I can be pretty open with my parents, but I really don't. I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot I could learn about
I'm
my
very
my parents.
unabashedly myself, so I still say a bunch of things, but there's like sometimes literally just no response, or just because it's
Yeah.
just me making a
Like,
comment
oh,
about
that's
something
just
as an aside.
Rachel.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
but like it's not like I can sit there and just have a conversation, and that's what I love to do, honestly. So it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, you.
See what makes people tick and find out what like gets under their skin and get them
Yeah.
riled up about something and be like, yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. I did get this little like card game where it's like you're asking people their memories. It's like to play with like your older family members and stuff like that, just to learn their stories. And I brought it for like our family reunion, so I think I'm gonna start taking that
Yeah,
over there occasionally and just because
that's a good idea.
yeah, start hearing their stories or something.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yep. Well, and the other thing is, especially in the church and things, your parents don't want to tell you about the times they've screwed up. They want that to get like, but those are the stories you need. Like,
Yeah.
those are the ones you
How do
need
you
to
learn from
hear.
other
Like,
people's mistakes if you hide all your mistakes?
right? Or were you a little hellion in high school that would
Yeah.
go and have little
Or
keggers or
when
whatever,
they
and you
just
just
told
never
us
wanted me to
all
know? Or,
motherhood's the most beautiful thing and da 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 da. And then when you're struggling, you're like, what's wrong with me? And it's because no, that was
yep,
never the reality of the situation. They were trying to paint it. It is a
yep.
beautiful thing, but it's a beautiful thing in a painful way. And
Sometimes it really sucks, and it's
yeah.
important to know that.
I
It's
think I
really
told you
important to know
that like Bella and Haley had both said, "Oh yeah, I probably won't have kids and stuff." Both of them now have talked about maybe wanting kids in the future. And it's funny because it's like I'm like it's from a very different place than I ever would have thought about it. You know what I mean?
that.
Like, cause
Hmm.
now they're just like, oh, like I don't know, like I guess they're just getting it more, and I'm like, that's funny because there's no like religious pull or anything, so you don't need
Yeah,
that to get people to have babies. You just need them to see that it can be a positive, and like they got to see us
yeah,
go through
and
some hard stuff, but come out the other side and keep talking about it and keep
maybe
working on it, and it's not so scary anymore. So
maybe fix some things with the economy so that it makes it easier too.
yeah,
Just
well,
just
I've
saying.
told them I'm like my plan is to upgrade this house one day. And I think that might be feasible to add. Either we'll like have to move to a bigger house but I really want them to have a place to always come back to. Like
Yeah,
I think that the whole like everybody has to get out on their own, like that divided us in a way. And it does take a village. So I want to be there to help them. They don't have to take us
yeah.
up on it, but they'll have that to fall back on. And that's just my goal.
Opportunity.
My retirement is just gonna be, I don't know, family, hopefully.
Yep.
Allowing them to thrive and help them in a way that like I'm like I would move
Just
my
being
parents and
involved.
my mother-in-law now if we had the space and just be like, let's all like work together. Like I think
Yeah.
we don't have to be so spread out and
No,
individualized. I know that's not for everybody, but I think I could live that way.
I think I could do the whole family compound thing. I love that stuff.
Me too, man.
I don't think it's feasible, but I think I would love something like that.
No, now we all live in
Okay.
different states and we're all over the place. There's too many of us.
How we doing time wise? Do
Oh,
we need to?
we went over a while ago, so we can.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Do
Well,
we-
really, it's like an hour and 15 minutes. We're good.
Okay, well, I'll run through some stuff. So
Okay.
he says, I'm on this stage today and able to be the man that I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation. I'm beyond blessed with the many talents God has given me, but it cannot be overstated that all of my success is made possible because a girl I met in band class back in middle school would convert to the faith and become my wife and embrace one of the most important titles of all, homemaker. So when you're working together, you know your job, like what's expected of you. He knows what's expected of him.
It
It
could be
can create a
beautiful.
really beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that it works for them. That is awesome.
And when you value that person and they don't,
Mhm.
actually I want to
Yeah.
show you, I'm gonna play a TikTok now. It's
Okay.
like one of the most recent ones I sent you.
Mr. Butker, isn't it true that you do not want to pay my client alimony in this divorce case? Isn't it true my client's vocation during the marriage was wife, homemaker, mother? That wasn't her vocation? This you?
Tell you that my beautiful wife Isabel would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother.
Isn't it true my client had career aspirations that she was unable to obtain during the marriage because of her vocation as wife, mother, homemaker? That isn't true? This you?
Isabel's dream of having a career might not have come true.
Isn't it true you are where you are today and able to obtain such success because of your wife and her leaning into her vocation as wife, mother, and homemaker? No? Is this you?
I'm on this stage today and able to be the man I am because I have a wife who leans into her vocation.
Mr. Butker, isn't it true you're here seeking primary custody of the children, but in fact, my client was the educator at home? No? This you?
She's a primary educator to our children.
Isn't it true that my client had to remind you to not put football and your business above your family and your children and spend time with your children? No? This you?
She's the one who ensures I never let football or my business become a distraction from that of a husband and father.
Mr. Butker, isn't it true that you had sex with a male cheerleader while you were attending Georgia Tech? My bad, Your Honor, that one was just for me.
So you're saying it could be a beautiful thing when you get into it, like what's expected and stuff like that. But unfortunately, unless you do value it and you set something up beforehand, your wife submitting to all those things and that vocation, if it does end, which it's not saying it's going to end, hopefully it's not, but those are things you have to think about.
There are people who do like
It happens all the time. There are so many women left in shitty situations. I wanted to there was one person commented on that. It said,
yeah.
Yes, feminism, aka sexism. Assume a happily married couple would end in divorce. If your life is bitter, don't try to drag everyone else into your sourness. And she said, as a divorce lawyer, I was highlighting how these videos could be used in court. Easiest way to show a stay-at-home mom her value, or stay-at-home mom you value her, is get a prenup, postnup protecting her. And it made me think, I'm like, yeah, that's another thing. If you really want all these things, then maybe you should love her so much and care about her so much that you know that she would literally be putting all that at stake. Like she'd have to give that all up. And you should trust so much that you're, that you could give her that prenup, postnup, or some sort of an agreement that is like literally, if you are going to be the wife and mother, you have a half stake, so that there is no risk of someone never going to school. You know what I mean? Like,
yep. I saw one lady recently she made a TikTok and she said she was Mormon and she did she was told mom, family, stay-at-home mom, that's what she wanted to be, right?
Yeah.
And she marries this guy and he's fairly wealthy and they're living their dream or whatever. And then he I think he had an affair or something.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that one, but he just decided he wanted out. And so what he did was he removed all of the money from their joint account, just took it out in cash, and quit his job because he could, because he had all that money. And he said, see you later. So he didn't have to pay any child support because he was not employed. He had all of their money, and she had their, I think, 6 kids or something. And she had to figure out how to pay for
Mhm.
childcare while she was trying to figure out a job, which she was not qualified for because she had no education because she chose wife and mother. It
Mhm.
does happen, and it's super
I've seen
scary.
it
And
happen in just people I've known, and it,
Mhm.
and that's like it's just scary.
So
It's
it would be great if all marriages were
yeah,
like
because
perfect.
what if
And
your husband just dies too? Like they need something in the event that you die. They need a way to
yep.
support themselves and support their kids. Like if someone's
hmm
vocation is to be a mother, then it needs to be a fucking paid vocation. You know what I mean?
It
Because
needs
if
to,
it's
you need to
allowing
have a
you to
plan.
go work it, you need to have a plan. Yeah, like
Yeah.
and you need to understand that she truly is entitled to because you couldn't have that job and have that family. You can only have
hmm
that if you have her doing those things. And if it is distributed in that meaningful way, like I could have loved that. Granted, me, like I do need more interaction with like, but I think I could get a lot of that helping at school and stuff like that. I need to work to keep the girls in school because Anthony works remotely and our
Yeah.
charter school is an employment. So working as a server is honestly just fun. So I'm so lucky that I get
Well,
to
you're
do
good at it. Like
something that's fun.
personality and talking.
Yeah. And then I do dentistry on Fridays now, every Friday. So I'm still working and I think I'd like I'm I'm loving being able to be with the kids now though. Even though
Yeah.
like I do like to work. So I think it's such a beautiful thing. I think it could also be beautiful though if Anthony got to do it. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't need to be a female vocation. It just needs to be a respected vocation, a vocation
hmm
that's valued by kind of all and as a society, whether it's a male or a female who is
hmm
taking on that role, that they're
Yep.
not being potentially harmed in the future because they gave up their ability to survive without you.
Yep. I have I have a brother whose wife is a kick-ass engineer. She does an awesome job and she really loves it. And he's like, if and when we have kids, I'd probably be the stay-at-home dad, like
Yeah.
because she really enjoys what she does and
Yeah. And if you
she's
really want to
really
have
good at it
kids,
and it's a really necessary job. So like,
yeah. And there are things that
why
only
not?
she's going to be able to do, which is why
Mhm.
maternity leave is so important. Because
Yeah,
there, you do
he can't breastfeed.
like exactly. There are things that he can't do, and that I totally understand. But there
Yeah,
are ways to deal with that too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
And to be honest, he would be a really awesome stay-at-home dad. When he came and watched our kids for he and his wife came to watch our kids while we were on
oh
vacation,
yeah,
and they like him more than they like us.
of
Like
course.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
So it would work for them. Okay, I'll rush through a little bit more of this because I know we're over time here, but um he says, I say all of this to you because I've seen it firsthand how much happier someone can be when they disregard the outside noise and move closer and closer to God's will in their life, which is great until you have a disagreement on what you think God's will is in your life. Like if she's like, "Hey, what if I joined a book club, or what if I go and get a part-time job, or what if things that she would be interested in, is it just his say so? Like, no, that's not staying in your lane. I'm sorry. I'm the man of the house, so no.
You need to run it by me. You can have ideas, but I get the final say.
Yeah, like
I would hope
if
not.
there's open communication between the two of you, then it can work. If you listen
Yeah.
to each other and like
If you really love
understand,
someone, you want them to get what's fulfilling out of life. So if you really love them and
yes.
not just love what they are for you should want
Mhm.
for them to get everything that makes them feel fulfilled and not want to, I don't know, control their lives. That's not love.
Yes.
Like so many people think that's love. It's not love.
No, in fact, I was gonna send this or save this to the end. Can you still
Mhm.
hear me if I turn my screen
Hmm.
off?
Try it. Let me see.
Can you still hear me?
Hmm.
Can you see me? No?
I can't. It says Emily.
Okay. Awesome. So Um, Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam.
Okay.
Um, he was talking about this speech and the guy giving it, and he said he was telling men, don't forget to puff up your chest and be more masculine. Don't lose your masculinity. The irony was that he was saying that he looked like such a pussy. There's nothing more masculine than a strong man supporting a strong woman. And then this right here is what I freaking loved.
Yeah.
He said, people of quality do not fear equality. People of quality do not fear equality because they're not trying to keep you working for them or like subservient to them. They're not trying to keep you down. It's what is going to add to your life, what's going to add to my life, and what makes sense for the life that we're living together. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like
Puff
my
up
husband
your
is very
chest
much
and be a
that
man.
way.
You know, I feel like
Yeah.
the men who really are like manly men, they also don't have a problem with like LGBTQ or anything like that because it doesn't, make them feel any sort of way. Like Anthony,
They don't have to participate if they don't want to. Like,
exactly, like it just, when one of his best friends in high school came out to him, he said, "Would you do me?" And he's like,
valid
no.
question.
He's like, no, but your older brother. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Like just because he didn't. There was nothing awkward
It
there.
doesn't have to be weird. Yeah.
Exactly. It was just, he just like was funny about it. And because
Yeah.
it was like, it didn't hurt him. Yeah. Whereas
Yeah.
if he had like, I don't know, maybe he had an attraction or something like that, that could have made him feel defensive and he would have needed to, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know how men really are or whatever. I only just
No,
think
I
that
think
the more you puff it up and try to be manly and hate on things, the more I think you're hiding something from yourself and everybody, maybe. That's what it makes me think. So it doesn't come across as very
well,
manly,
and
honestly.
no, it doesn't come across as very
Mhm.
manly, and it feels controlling and it feels icky. There's a lot of so I don't think I grew up in a really controlling household. There wasn't like my dad was never like, I am
Mm.
the head of this household and you'll all listen to me.
No, we were
But I
very
think
much a teamwork family.
I think I picked up on a lot of that though through the church. And so there's a lot of things that when Cody doesn't behave like that, or he's like, I don't know, breaks the mold there, it kind of takes me back and I'm like, oh, like I thought you would be offended that I wanted to go, do this. And it's like, nah, it's your life. Do what you got to do. And, whatever you think. I don't know if that made sense at all, but it is very refreshing to have somebody who's confident in like who I am and who he is. And like, if
Yeah,
if
I get
someday
what you're
my
saying.
behavior makes it so that we can't be, and if I did something, he'd be like, okay, does this behavior make it so we can be together or not be together? You know what I mean? It's very pragmatic, the word. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's
Anyway,
open communication and allowing you to be whoever you are and being open about,
you are.
hey, this is where I am, what I want to do. Just there's no reason to hide who you are, and if they want you to hide or change a part of who you are, they don't love you. They love who they want you to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even this is a really stupid example, but even on dates and things, I'll get all dolled up to go out on date nights and things like that. And um, we like to sit at the bar and talk to the waitresses there and like have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there will
I
be
wanna go
guys at
out.
the bar that will talk to me, you know what I mean? Strike up a conversation. And the waitresses have even said, they're like, it is super refreshing that you don't get jealous when like other people try to talk to her. He's like, I don't
Yeah,
care.
it's not like a weird, like, while you're talking to my girl, he probably just joins the conversation, as it should be,
Yeah.
because you're allowed to speak. Yeah,
Mhm.
and be attractive at the same time. And it
And
doesn't mean you want to fuck that
it's
person.
he does not see it as a threat, and that's super
'Cause it's
refreshing
not.
because it
Yeah,
can make
right?
me, and it makes him incredibly more attractive to me because it's like, thank you for letting me be myself. Like, and
Yes.
I'm not like encouraging the dudes, I don't think, but you know what I mean? Like, there's a balance here. Maybe I'm talking too
Yeah.
much. We can move on.
You're not.
We can go.
You're good.
I like my husband, that is all.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, oh, there's nothing good about playing God with having children. This is what you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Whether that be your ideal number or the perfect time to conceive, no matter how you spin it, there's nothing natural about Catholic birth control. Are you kidding me? This is another thing I see a lot of. They tell you in church that there are these babies up in heaven sitting on a cloud, watching and waiting for you to make up your mind to bring them into this world. And if you decide not to, they're going to be sad forever because
Or they're
you
gonna get sent to an unbelieving family, because that was something that like a stake president or something said to my mom. Like she heard it in a speak. It was like all souls need to come to earth. They need a vessel, and if wherever there's a vessel, it is. So the more that you create, the more are coming into a believing faith.
That's such a horrible thing to tell women
Yeah.
because I will literally, if that was true, I would burn myself to the ground trying to save
Yeah.
little children from a
You think you're
lifetime of.
doing but really, if you're
It's
bringing
like
them
I
here
could,
without any preparation, without like an actual thought given to it and knowing how, and it's just not fair to the
yeah,
kid. Like they have to go through
it's
us
not fair to
growing up too,
anybody.
Like
Yeah. Like if you ask me if I'm overwhelmed and I'm like crying on the floor in the fetal position, if you said, "Hey, it's between you taking on more or this kid dying," of course I'd be like, throw him on the pile. Like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna sentence a kid to death because I'm
yeah, but that's just mental
going through something
torment
rough.
and it's not real.
And it's not healthy. If
It's not
if
healthy.
you if you wait till you're in a healthy space and you talk to your husband, you're like, "Hey, you know what? I think we're ready to have a kid." And he's like, "Yeah, I think so too." How much better is that than just like, well, I guess God wanted us to be pregnant again for the eighth time in like 8 years, and like it's
And I know
God's
I
choice, it's
don't
his
have a
will,
job, and the kid's
right?
gonna get no attention, and I'm gonna be so upset about other things. I'm gonna take it out on the kid, and we're gonna
And
have a
my body
horrible
has had
dynamic.
no
And my
time to recover from the last one. And
yeah,
like,
like
it's so mean to do to women and to say, if you're using birth control, that's against the will of the Lord because he would have made that happen.
and then
That is
there's a whole
horrible.
other thing though. I went on birth control not for birth control. It's used for so many other things.
Oh, gosh. I avoided hormonal birth control because I'm like, my hormones are out of whack anyway. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not trying that. And I tried it, and guess who feels a lot better? I do. Like,
Yeah. And I have to
yeah,
I
there's,
stay away from hormones for the most part just because of the blood clotting risk in my family and how many people have already died from
Mhm.
blood clots. But
Yeah,
like I had to use hormones just to like basically to like physically mature. I was like 21
yeah,
before I got boobs in a regular period.
yeah. Well, and I used to want to kill people once a month, and now I'm like, well, I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Weird.
I'm
Like,
so glad that I never got like I've just never had much anger. Or it
uh,
subsides quickly.
I get overstimulated, and that
Yeah.
translates into anger. Like all of a sudden, I can't cope like a natural adult should. I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, I need to put myself in timeout. My responses are not going to be good for a while. Like,
Yeah.
it's not you
You're
guys,
being
it's me.
reactionary because you feel a certain way. It has nothing to do with anybody around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm sorry. This is a me thing.
Yeah.
I just need to go calm
It's
down.
has nothing.
It's
You're not doing anything besides being a normal human being. It's me. It's me.
yeah, and
I
all you
gotta
gotta
go.
do
Yeah.
is separate yourself and be like, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Like,
It's good that you can do that though.
yeah. Well, I'm learning.
I've done that. I've had to do that too. Like, because
Yeah.
thankfully the girls will like sometimes call me out on things, or I'll call them out if I'm like, hey, you're being unnecessarily mean. I get you don't feel good right now, but like, hi,
Yeah.
love you.
I
You don't
like
feel
that.
good,
I've
but
had to
everything
do
else
that.
is good. Everything's good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Going quickly. Yeah, there's nothing natural about Catholic birth control. Your poor wife. Okay. To
Oh,
the
I just
gentleman
hope
here
she's
today.
happy. You can't be happy in that life. I know a lot of people that are. It's just that you gotta let us
Yeah, you
go.
can.
You gotta let us go. You gotta let us choose something else and not see it as the only route. Just see it as a route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was going to say stop feeding us the lies that there's babies up there just waiting on you, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there are, but I don't like that
No,
thought.
I don't believe that.
I
Doesn't seem
don't.
like a
I
that
like.
doesn't seem like the kind of God I would. I don't know, like playing games like that.
Kind of
Like
weird,
it's not the kind of God I'd be worshiping anyways. Like you're just playing with
yeah.
us at this point. Am I a toy? Because I'm gonna go ahead and go over here while you play with them.
Right? Maybe I don't want to play the game right
I
now.
don't want to play
Thank
the game
you.
right now. No, I'm just gonna go over here
All
and take
right.
care of people.
Okay, let's see. He says, to the gentleman here today, there's a lie that's been told to you that men are not necessary in the home or in our community. As men, we set the tone of the culture, and and when that is absent, disorder, dysfunction, and chaos set in. I can both agree and disagree with that at the same time. I think men do set the tone of the culture, and I think there are people that are trying to maybe change that a little bit. And when men are present in their homes, when they've chosen to have families and they are present with those families and they are interactive with their own children and in the home, I think it is great. I think you do have better outcomes. So, yeah, if you're going to choose to be a dad, be present and take your job seriously.
And I'm glad that my
Absolutely.
husband is like setting the tone for the culture of, not at all what you describe manliness to be, Mr. Butker. But
Yep.
he's setting the tone and he does a good job of taking accountability where he needs to
Mhm.
and learning and growing and teaching his
Personal
kids.
accountability is everything.
It really
It's
is.
everything.
It's a good one. Like it's
Yeah.
just it's like a sign of like actual like maturation, I guess, is when you can like be like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I fuck
There,
up, I did these things and I like have to just, you know,
yeah.
take
I
care
was
of everything pretty
talking
much.
I was talking to somebody this week, either my husband or my daughter, somebody. I'm like, such cool things can happen in this life if you allow yourself to feel stupid for a little bit. Like to say like, I fucked up. This was my fault. I made a mistake. You're a lot more likely to get a good response from people than if you were like, "Nuh-uh, I just did it because this happened and I was justified because da 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 da." To just be like, I fucked up. That was my bad. I
Yeah.
made a mistake. That's
Yeah.
huge. If you're starting a new hobby or something you want to do, if you allow yourself to feel stupid for a period of time,
Yeah. And just
then
start
you get
doing
to
it even
learn
though
the
you don't
hobby.
know. Yeah, yeah. Just start
Mhm.
messing around with it.
Yeah, if you want to talk to people or like be a part of a certain like social group, if you allow yourself to feel stupid for just a little bit, it can open doors for you. Don't be afraid of feeling stupid for
A
a little bit. And worst
100%.
case scenario, you feel stupid for a little bit. Like,
Yeah. And then it's over. But also I've been telling my girls, nobody's coming to like if you think you want something, like nobody's coming to give that to you. So you got to put yourself in the
that's true.
situations to get it. So like just like you got to get over like the embarrassment of like
Yep.
whether it's being like performing publicly or whatever, like if it's what you think you want to do, then you just do it because like
Mhm.
you're not just all of a sudden gonna something's gonna click one day
Yeah.
unless you start and are bad at it. And then once you get good at it, it'll click. But nobody
Yeah,
starts
and
with it.
there's always a learning curve
Yeah.
and a time to feel stupid. Like, just don't be afraid of it. Well, that's so much easier said than done because I don't like feeling stupid either. But
Yeah, but you can get
um,
over it. You can get over it. You can recognize
after
it
a
as
lifetime of practice, I'm feeling better.
no, but I'm trying to help my girls now. I'm just like, because it's one of those things I'm saying on repeat that I just hope to impress in them. Just how
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
how embarrassment is kind of like it's a waste of an emotion because it's like
it can be.
it really is like it just
It's
keeps
mostly
you
just a
from
lack of
doing.
understanding.
Yeah, yeah, like if you want to do something like that embarrassment that keeps you from doing it or how people are going to react to you, like I don't know, it's just like a self-punishment that I just want them to like master because you have reactions to what you think people are going to think or what you think they're going to do, but nobody's thinking about you as much as you're thinking about you. Only you are.
Yeah, even when
And
you do
like,
something stupid, people may laugh
yes,
a little bit, but they're not thinking about you all the time.
except for you,
Like,
Jojo. I saw that toilet paper on your shoe in ninth grade, not letting it go.
oh, I thought you were talking about
Like,
JoJo Siwa, and I'm like,
no,
yeah,
no, no. I was just
she's had a
making
rough
up some
week.
random thing, just being stupid.
Yeah,
I did see a
yeah.
clip of Jojo Siwa though at Disney being interesting. So
She's in a learning curve, I think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's at that
She's young,
age where she's having a good time, but
exploring a little.
also being a silly goose.
Being a silly goose. Exactly. Okay. So he says, oh, he gives a list of advice for men, but I was like, imagine that they gave the same list to women. You know what I mean? I could use this advice sometimes. He says, be unapologetic in your masculinity, which is just be unapologetically yourself, right? We could all use that one. Do hard things, never settle for what's easy. It's the hard that makes it great.
Yeah, I think do hard
Um,
things, but sometimes easy things come, and be smart enough to take the easy if it gets you
yeah,
to, if it's a means to an end and it's
yeah.
not
But
hurting
don't be
anybody.
afraid of the hard
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
okay to do hard things. I tell
100%.
my kids that all the time. I'm like, you can do hard things. It's hard, but you can do hard things. And then you feel better when you've done those hard things. Like, heck
Life
yeah,
life is hard, you know? Like life is
can
literally
be.
constantly working. Like every day we wear clothes that then need to be cleaned. Every day we sweat, so we need a shower. Like it's the most mundane, stupid stuff, but it's all work. Life is
Hmm.
hard if you sit there and worry about it. Life is not that hard if you just allow it to become a habit, see the value in it, and just make it a part of your day. And it's like you don't have to sit
Yep.
there and make it a big deal.
Yes. He says you might have a talent you might not enjoy, but if it glorifies God and helps others, maybe lean into that. It's like, yes
Disagree.
and no. Depending
I have
on,
a talent
if
I
you do
don't
have
enjoy.
well, Cody can fix cars, and there's a lot of times people ask him for help with stuff, and he's like, I would rather not right now, but he'll go and do it. So
And that is kind. I get that.
that could be kind of like that. But yeah, in general, I don't think you should subject yourself to a lifetime of servitude and things you don't want to do because,
Yeah, I think there are things that you could want to do that could still be serving and for a greater good.
yeah, find work that
That's a
makes you
silly
happy
thing.
would I think be a better advice there. So, and he told them all they need to attend traditional Latin mass, which is actually broken off of like the regular Catholic
So it's like
community.
we were the
They,
LDS and there was an RLDS. They're like the RLDS.
yeah, kind of. Yes. So I think I don't know a lot about it, but there has been some struggle with between the traditional Latin mass and the like Vatican City Pope Catholics.
Because the Pope is
It's
being
a whole different deal.
too liberal, too left-leaning, accepting of people.
Yeah. And that sends off so many red flags in my mind because as soon as you get into the nope, we need to follow everything by the letter of the law, it needs to be super strict,
But it's not a
is when you
law,
get the
it's a
us versus
belief.
them.
There are no
Well,
facts. You can't
if
present
you
any of
really
that as
believe, it
fact. Yeah,
feels like a law,
but it's a belief. They
but it's a
have to
belief.
understand it's a belief. Like there is nothing factual about the Bible unless you believe in it.
Well, and
It
I don't think
exists.
a lot of people who believe the Bible have read the Bible because there's a lot
No.
in there that's like, well, I don't believe that. Like, I remember reading it when I was a kid and getting to the part on incest where like two daughters sleep with their father in order to preserve the seed. And I was like, what? Like,
Or
what?
when the dad sends the daughters outside so that they don't rape the angels.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot in there that's like, hang on a
They
second.
always have an excuse for that,
Maybe
though.
we
And
don't
we did
believe it
too when
all.
we were
Yeah.
part of it. There was always some excuse we had been told,
Well,
and we
that was
would
the way they did it back
reiterate
then. And
it.
like,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
a different time.
Not like
And
the other
although
parts
God's
that
all knowing, he didn't know then. So like
he didn't know that. He didn't
but
know
then
that.
like, yeah.
Didn't work.
Anyways,
Yeah. Yeah. No, when you're out, that all sounds ridiculous. But when you're in it,
yeah,
you're like, of course.
yeah,
So
it just feels real. Yeah.
it's hard. But yeah.
It is.
He says, iron sharpens iron. Those closest to us should be making us better. If you're dating someone not of your faith, how do you expect that person to help you become a saint? Make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people, which brings us around to that echo chamber again, where it's easier to live what you believe when you
Mm.
surround yourself with like-minded
Yeah.
people.
When
But
nobody makes you question anything, you're easy to control.
it cuts out a huge portion of the population of good people, and you start to think that the only good people are the people who believe like you do,
Yeah.
and then
Then it
you're
divides
surprised
us
when
even further.
yep, and you're willing to lay down your life and fight for your way of believing, and all of a sudden we're in war, and it's horrible. And like, believe what you
Exactly.
believe, hold on to your beliefs, you live that to the fullest of your ability. Leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
If only
gonna,
they
I'm
could
gonna,
do that though, because their belief is that and a part of the belief is they have to share it, right?
mhm. they have to get the rest of us to believe too, because that's what God would want. And it's
Please. I saw a TikToker. I'll have to send it to you. I don't have it here, and but she's pretty much like, "Let me go to hell. Let me."
Mhm. Yep. Thank you. I will accept that on my own. Bless you so much, because
Have fun in heaven.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to be there if it's filled with that,
Yeah.
with Mr. Butker and his name dropping. My my teammate's girlfriend says, well, this is the way you should live.
Yeah.
Don't give her a name or anything, dude.
Yeah.
And she got that quote from somewhere else. So yeah, you just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Wonder how many T Swifty lyrics he went through before he settled on that one.
You
He's
think
out
he
there
was
just
like,
like,
I really gotta work Taylor into this. Like,
I really
I,
do. Yeah.
I know her. I know her.
I know her. We're best friends.
Yeah.
She
One
high-fived
day.
me once.
One day when she comes, the little white picket fence.
Yeah. And she's like, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I like that he's like glorifying Taylor Swift when she has a career and is not a mother, or you know what I mean? And not only that, but there's a lot of
He would
comments.
wager to guess that will be when her life will really start, though.
Yeah, when her life would really start. Also a lot of the comments were saying like, Mr. Butker, your mother
Yes, she's like,
has a career and put you through college so that you could
doesn't she
go
work
kick
in
a
like
ball
cancer
around.
research or something kick-ass
Yeah,
like
she's
that?
super smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember what exactly she does, but it's
She
a
seems
very good
pretty
job.
amazing.
And yeah, she's probably like, what the hell, son?
I don't
Like,
know if she
what
believes
am I,
like him.
chopped
She
liver?
probably, people who believe we would
That's
have
true.
been.
And she
'Cause,
probably
I
doesn't
mean,
go to traditional Latin mass, so
I don't know.
you can write her off.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah. Well, sorry for going over, but
no.
thanks for going over that with me.
If it's too long, we'll just have Jesse split it in two or something. But whatever. There are no rules.
There are
Lisa
no
doesn't
rules for
mind if
this,
this is long, right? Lisa, so-
right? She can listen on her own time, and
Yeah.
she would. What? My pencil is stuck, and my shirt just about came open. Welcome.
All right.
All right.
So yeah. Well, I guess that wraps that up then, right? We went over everything.
I think we did front to back, top to bottom. That's the whole speech. So
Yeah.
I guess end with just choose what you want out of your life. Make it a good one. You can listen to this guy or not. You can choose your own path, and maybe don't listen to assholes. That's all. Don't feel
Be a
if
good
someone's
person and
telling you
don't be an asshole.
if somebody's
That's
telling you
it.
the only way to be happy is to not be who you are and to like
If
fit
anybody's
into a box
telling you
that you
there's
don't want to
only
fit
one
into,
way to be happy, they're wrong.
yeah,
Because there are so many ways
they're
to be
wrong.
happy. It's an individual experience. We're all here together and trying to work together, but we also have to realize we're having individual experiences and we have to allow for that.
Yep. And make sure that you're talking to more than just the people who believe the same way as you do. Like,
Yeah.
figure out what you
You
believe
know-
and why other people believe differently, and that we live in a great big world with a lot of different belief systems and a lot of different personalities. And
Yeah. The person I was talking about who commented on that, he also went and like other women commented and he had some responses to theirs. So I'm like, maybe we should have him come on because he obviously thinks very differently than I do and probably you. But like we could, maybe see if there's some sort of common ground or we could see where he's coming from. Who knows?
okay,
All right.
I'd be willing to talk to anybody.
Of course, me too. I think it's fun. And I think
I think I like that. and I think
And I think. All right.
that is all.
All right. I love you.
All right. Well, Lilas, have fun in the pool.
Mwah. I will. Yeah, maybe for the summer we could do like a bathing suit series.
Let's do it.
Because I'm in the pool with the girls
Oh.
all the time anyways. So
Cody's
we'll have to
sister has
get
a
some
pool.
fun
Maybe I'll
suits.
do a podcast from there.
We'll do one outside. We'll do a pool cast.
I like that.
That'd be
I
fun.
like it a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm in. Let's
I
do
love
it.
you. Okay.
I love you too.
Bye.
Lilas. Bye.
Subscribe up there.
Subscribe.
There's a subscribe up there.
Okay.
Like the button.
Okay.